What's up, guys? It's John Redhawk. Welcome to my third Q&A on the channel. Bigger and better than ever. We got about 75 questions here. I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. I'm going to try for this video not to take forever. I have no idea what I'm going to have on the screen right now, but I hope you enjoy looking at it. I don't know. So the first question is from Starfall Glimmer. He asks, I asked the same thing to Ben Lepper. Do you like ponies? The answer is no. I don't have anything against people who like ponies. Just not my scene. Austin Awesome asks, what video that you have made are you most proud of? Also, I love you. I think probably the 15 references video. I actually did quite a decent amount of research for it, and I had to like sync things up and everything. So from a technical perspective, I could have done better, but I'm still pretty proud of it. Fern Monkey asks, do you make lists for money? Sorry, my English is bad. Yes, that's the only reason I make videos. Meowtastic DJ asks, what's your favorite Monstercat release? If you've never been to the channel before, it is Timberwolf. Always has been since I started listening to Monstercat, or not since I started, but since I like listened to the whole catalog, and not sure when that'll change. Anthony Delgado asks, what upcoming track are you most hyped for? Either Muzzy x Sullivan King or Bad Computer x Zach Waters. Usually I don't get super hyped for collaborations, but these are two just like god tier artists collabing with each other in both cases, so I'm very excited for it. Brooking Gregory asks, what is your third favorite type of bird? The answer is blue jay. Misterino04 asks, what is the worst track you have ever heard? I'll go with just the song that I dislike the most, and that's Me by Meghan Trainor, because I absolutely hate the message that is sent, and I think the musical qualities of it are really poor too, and I don't really care for Meghan Trainor as a vocalist at all. Darkfire293 asks, what is in your opinion the most underrated EDM artist, and what is their best song? Other than Frequent. That's a very good disclaimer because I would have said Frequent. I'll go with East Coast for this. I know he's gotten on Bitbird before. He's gotten some attention for some of his bigger songs like Devotion. Devotion's the one that comes off the top of my head. But I think in general he's not mentioned among the some of the best artists on Bitbird as much as he probably should be. And as far as his best song, I'm actually making a top 10 about his best songs in the near future, so I will not spoil that now. Wacky Bull asks, how much has your daily life changed since becoming integrated into YouTube/online communities? Other than making some really great friends, surprisingly not that much. I would still say my life in general, besides making videos and stuff and like talking to online people, is like pretty much the same as it used to be, especially now that I'm not making as many videos as I used to. Synthetic Memes asks, do you follow sports, and if you do, what's your favorite one to follow? Yes, I do watch a ton of sports. My favorite two to follow, I'll say. My favorite one to follow, like keep track of and like do all that, would be college basketball, just because there's so much of it. My favorite one to actually watch is college football, just because the atmosphere is great and just chaotic. Like, the whole sport is chaotic. Arc Element asks, first of all, oh, that's another question. How did you become inspired to listen to EDM and Monstercat? I basically had two phases of, like, basically my first phase is like 6 or 7 years ago, and it didn't last that long. It was mostly just me being interested in dubstep for the most part. How I got introduced to Monstercat, though, a YouTuber named Pause Unpause. He was doing a Minecraft UHC series, and he used FTW by Let's Be Friends as his song, and so I kind of checked out more of Monstercat, and I guess you could say the rest is history. Bomber says, very coincidentally, what was the very first Monstercat song you loved? The first song that I would play over and over again was Error Code by Case in Point. It was the song that had come out most recently when I like checked their channel, and I was just in love with it. Delta asks, what's your favorite video game soundtrack? I'll announce this now. My favorite video game soundtrack is Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and I'm actually doing a ranking on the soundtrack at some point. It's going to be a huge one because the soundtrack is gigantic. It's like over 200 songs, but I'm currently working on that. Ocular Red asks, do you watch anime? No. The Only Pixel 19 asks, my question, can I ask another question? No. April asks, what do you plan on doing after YouTube? Probably just life stuff. If I give up on YouTube, that means more than likely I will be like a much busier person. And so, again, probably just still be life stuff. TVR Gaming says, I know your favorite Monster Cat track, Timberwolf, right? Yeah, good guess. But what's your least favorite Monster Cat song? And I will cop out and say that I'm remaking that list very soon because I'm not happy with how it looks right now. Pizza, which is an incredible name, asks, is there anything that will automatically make you not like a song? I will say if white noise is used wrong, it mostly happens in Big Room and in Commercial House, and it doesn't really happen anymore, but oh my goodness, that can get so irritating for me. There's a couple songs in general that really do that like horribly. Like United by Eminence is sort of the main one. Eminence does it a couple times early on in their career on Monster Cat, and it's oof. An Unqualified Professional asks, what are your thoughts on our Lord and Savior Aaron Rodgers? He's basically the only reason why the Packers win nowadays, so he's fun to watch, and I don't hate the Packers, so I can kind of root for him when he's playing, like, I don't know, Seattle or Dallas. Flood asks, what's your top 10 men you'd go gay for if you had the chance, and why is your answer Cad? Because he's a god at GeoGuessr and he's always recording at the right time. Shreknado asks, what made you decide to do list videos about music? There wasn't anything that made me think, I really want to become a list YouTuber. I just sort of made a couple of lists, basically like ranking the albums, and it just kind of spiraled from there. Darkened XO8, your neighborhood trash poster, asks, what is your favorite Big Room House song? I'll say two. One on Monster Cat. My favorite is the Toby Green remix of Pink Cloud, and off the label, I think it's Big Room. I think it counts, but Gumby by Barely Alive and Abstract. Fire Roca asks, do you think Future House is becoming mainstream? I would say it already is. Some artists such as Olivia Heldens and Tashami and Throttle have already gotten very big making Future House, and I'm sure there's even bigger artists that have made it. But yeah, I would say it's already mainstream. D-Mock asks, if you could make any two artists collab, who would they be? I could have gone a lot of different directions with this one, but I ended up saying I would love to hear a Ramses B. Elliot Berger chill song. Oh, golly. Just thinking about that makes me like, oh, I want it so bad. Dragon asks, are we ever going to mate to create our Dragon X Hawk hybrid animal? And the answer is yes. Pickle Boomerang asks, who'd you like to see make a debut on a Monster Cat, or who'd you like to see make a return to the label? I'll answer the second one because I'll answer the first one later, but I would love to see Casbo return. I don't think it's very likely at all, considering he seems to have found a really good home at Foreign Family, but Casbo's stuff now is even better than his 2015 stuff, which I never thought I'd see the day where that was a thing, and I think he'd make a great addition, or a great re-edition, I guess. I feel like his music would be right in with what's going on Instinct now. Nighthawk asks, what would you think of What You Waiting For, the Chris Ramos and MC Flipside song, if Muzzy or Haywire made it? The answer is it wouldn't happen, because neither Muzzy nor Haywire, neither their styles or anything like that. If either of them made that song, it'd be the biggest WTF like song of all time. But if they made it with like basically that amount of stuff going on, but in their own style, it would be like the most disappointing thing on the planet. Arinthesizer asks, what is your favorite thing about yourself? By the way, I love this question. I'll say that I feel like I'm a decisive person, and that's one piece of life advice I would give to people, is when you're making decisions, just stick with it and be confident with it, even if it may not be the right one, because being wishy-washy is generally just not a good thing. If you want to do something, you should commit to it and do it, and that's a sort of philosophy that I strive by, and I think it helps me a lot. My phone is going off. I'm being decisive and taking it off my counter. Hads de Boy asks, "How was your day, bud?" It's great, thank you. I hope you're having a good day too. Everyone watching this, but especially you, Hads de Boy. T-Ray Huckabee asks, literally, what holds Peacock back from being the best track on Monstercat? I've watched next to every one of your ranking videos, and for the life of me, have not been able to scrape out a definitive answer. It's literally the most carefully composed and thoroughly designed track that has ever been made by any of the artists on the label. I cannot think of a single flaw aside from people just don't like it / it sounds off. So, I'll say here, music is totally subjective. What's trash to someone might be the greatest thing to another person, and what is just a beautiful song to one person may not do anything for another person. I really like Peacock. It's really well made. The progression is off the walls. The production is great. Like, basically everything about it is like awesome. And it's a 10 out of 10 song for me. The reason it's not even higher is because there's songs above it that do that or nearly that, and it also holds some sort of like emotional like meaning with me. And that song doesn't really do that for me. And that's basically my reason. I'm sure there's other people that like, they don't like the beat, they're not into funky stuff, the progression is weird for them, there's just not like enough tangibly there. And I totally disagree with those people, but again, I basically would say that about Timberwolf. Like, how do people not like it? I would say literally all of that stuff. So it just comes down to music being subjective. Great question though. Unbiased Bucks fan asks, what are your thoughts on the Monstercat Instinct releases so far? I would say they're mostly solid. There's a couple of them that have been like well above the rest, and there's a couple of them that I just haven't liked really at all. But for the most part, it's a bunch of songs that are like 7s and 8s out of 10s. But I do prefer Uncaged so far. Maybe not the idea of Uncaged, but definitely the songs that have come out on Uncaged. I generally prefer the median Uncaged song over the median Instinct song. Husky asks, thoughts on vaporwave / lo-fi music. Vaporwave I've never really listened to. Not really like my scene. I know it's probably easy to get lost in, but like, I don't know. I'd rather listen to like synthwave and Outrun than vaporwave. As far as lo-fi, I'm just like starting to get into the genre. It's cool. It's nice to chill out too. I really like Philanthrope's album. I forget the name of it. That's one of the albums I go to chill out now. But it's nothing I really go out of my way to listen to, because a lot of lo-fi sounds very similar to me. Infinitious asks, what do you think of Monstercat's new thumbnails? I think they look great. They're a lot better than what they were doing with the black tones and the sort of like off-white cream tones. I think the way they look now is a lot more professional than before too. And it's a really good way of showing what's Uncaged and what's Instinct, while also, you know, showcasing the art and the name of the artist and all. So I think it's very good from a graphics perspective. Solus asks, do you wear knee socks? GLM asks, what's your favorite series you've done? I would say Red Elk 30 is it's not, I mean, it wasn't an original idea, but for my channel, it's a lot different than anything else I've done, and I've found some really good music from it. The only reason I haven't put out number 10 yet is honestly because I just don't feel like editing it right now. But I promise you guys it'll come out somewhat soon. Jewel asks, if there is a remix package for What You Waiting For, would you be excited? Probably not, but who knows. Some of my favorite remix packages have come out for songs that I don't really care for, so... Jaden Munoz asks, what's your opinion on Alan Moore's Long-Awaited Journey? It's a very good album. It's very well made, but it's way over my head. And that's kind of what I would say about a lot of Alan Moore's songs. None of them are songs that I'd go out of my way to listen to because they're just so much. Embryo Y'all asks, favorite movie? And my favorite movie is Reservoir Dogs, directed by Quentin Tarantino. A great film, not super actiony, but I really, really like it. Gabe Meister asks, what artists would you like to see on Monstercat? And so this is basically the other part of that other question earlier. I think one artist I would love to see make a debut on Monstercat is I Live Here, who does a lot of Bitbird stuff. And he does chill, and he does very like retro sounding future based trap stuff, future trap. And I think he would be a perfect addition to Instinct. I would love to see it. I don't know if it'll happen, but I would love to see it. Jenny Wakeman asks, if you were to pick one genre of electronic music to consider your favorite, what would it be? It can be broad like house or an extremely specific genre. I'll just say in general, progressive house. One of my favorite albums of the year right now is mostly progressive house. And Deadmau5, one of my favorite artists in EDM, he mostly does progressive house. I feel like on Monstercat we don't get enough of it, but in general, it's a genre that I rarely hear songs that aren't good. Guz T asks, what is your most embarrassing moment that you feel like sharing? Of course. Most of my embarrassing moments are either too personal or too embarrassing. I'll just go with the first one I could think of. When I was like maybe 10 or 11, we were at baseball practice, and someone threw a baseball over the wall before like a game. So it was like practice before. It was like warm-ups, I guess. And so I was, in my infinite wisdom, I was like, all right, let me climb the fence to go get this baseball. And it's a pretty high fence. It's about 9 feet high. And I climbed it. Once I got to the top and started going down, I realized I was in cleats, which meant I caught on the way down, which is really, I didn't like face plant or anything, but it was still like glasses went off. I was just like an absolute spaz, and it was really fun. Yeah, you should have been there. Michael asks, how do you feel about rhythm music as a whole? For the most part, rhythm is unoriginal and uninteresting to me. A lot of it sounds very similar, and none of it is super sonically pleasing to me. It's very basic in my opinion, and in general, I just don't really care for the genre at all. Azurai asks, opinion of Kid. Very good artist, but I would say I need to listen to more from him to really give a more complete answer here. But from what I've heard, he's very good. Random Nintendo 7 asks, is water wet? I would say no, it makes things wet. Mr. Yogurt asks, Monstercat or Bitbird? I would say definitively Bitbird. It's probably my favorite label out there right now. It's so unique, and the median artist on Bitbird, I would kill to see for on Monstercat. So, Samir Rajani asks, what's the most common deal breaker you see in songs you dislike, but would otherwise love if not for that one factor? I would say, for sure, bad vocal chops can kill a song that I would otherwise like. The two songs off the top of my head I would think of that would be like damn near top 100 material, but instead are songs that are in the bottom half of their album for me right now, are Hunted by Two Thirds and On Fire by Milano. Both songs are very good and energetic D&B, and they both have terrible vocal chops in the drop that I just killed a song for me. And I'm sure there's other songs off the top of my head that are worse. I guess the Charity Strike remix of Collide is probably got the worst vocal chops I've ever heard, and it kind of makes the song unlistenable. Project Underscore asks, will you ever come to Australia? Hopefully, mate, hopefully. I'd love to. I would hit you up if I ever did. Cancerous Fetus asks, what artists got you into electronic music? There are 5 of them specifically that I listened to a lot when I first got into EDM. Those being Bass Nectar, Skrillex, Deadmau5, Nero, and Datsik. Cool Cactus asks, what is your preferred way of listening to music? Spotify, SoundCloud, Physical, etc. Spotify is where I do most of my listening. So much stuff is readily available on Spotify, and unlike SoundCloud, the interface on mobile is very good, which means it's not a pain in the ass to listen to stuff. That's like my biggest deal breaker with SoundCloud is just the mobile app is awful, and Physical, it's just not like viable for me to buy every album. Unfortunately, I've bought a couple albums just to support the artist, but in general, I do most of my listening on Spotify because it's easier. Glazio Pluto asks, do you have a pet? I have 2 dogs and technically kind of a cat back home, but I live 4.5 hours away from home, so I rarely ever see them. But once I'm done with college, I might get pets. I'm not sure. Still figuring that out. Matthew Rutherford asks, Vanger in or Vanger out? Vanger out for sure. He's been here too long. Alpha the Hawk asks, are there some series on your channel you would bring back? If I had the drives to do it, I would start doing individual song reviews again. I enjoy doing those. The problem is that they take so long to edit, and I don't want to half-ass the editing and make it just not worth it, and basically not give the song its due. J Perkins 689S asks, who has given you the most support during your YouTube adventure, like a certain roommate or something? Yeah, I see what you're going for. Thanks, Jonah. Dominic Ng, I think that's how you pronounce that. I'm not sure. I definitely have looked that up before when looking up how to pronounce Eden's last name, but I've forgotten. So sorry if I mispronounced that. But he asks, what are you studying? I'm actually in college for broadcasting. I'm not sure whether I'm going to go into sports or news yet, but I'm figuring that out right now. Oscar Hellreaper asks, how do you think the world will end? I think something human-made is going to... I don't know if it'll be nukes or... like climate change or what, but I think something that we do is going to cause, I don't think it's going to be an asteroid that hits us, or the planet explodes or anything like that. I think it'll be something that we do that doesn't, and I don't know when that'll happen. It could be in 100 years, it could be in 3,000 years, it could be tomorrow. I'm not sure, and I don't pretend to know. Dill asks, what's your favorite video you've made and why is it the Monster Cat Zoo? And the answer is because it's the best idea I've ever had. Shweezy asks why Red Hawk. I've definitely explained this before on the channel, but when I first made the channel, which was like over 7 years ago now, I was playing MLB 11 The Show, which is a baseball video game, and I was doing the career mode, and the team I played for was the Oklahoma City Red Hawks. So I just kind of rolled with that. I had it on the director because I was reading a book where... it was called The Firm, and one of the characters in it, his name was the director, because he was like the director of the FBI, I guess, and so I was a Red Hawk director. I chopped the director off because it's too much. Lenny Pepperbottom asks, have you heard the Tomorrow Today album by Savoy? I have not, but I probably should. Caden Altamimi, I hope I pronounced that right, asks, what's your opinion on Solero? I think he's one of the best artists in EDM. Almost all of his songs are great, and I really hope he's not done with music. I really hope he's doing okay. Okay asks, what do you think about the Recency Effect by AU5 and Mr. Bill and a bunch of other artists? I will not spoil anything on that because I have a video coming soon, but if you've heard me talk before, it's Mr. Bill and AU5, so you should already know how I think of the album if you have heard me talk about either of those artists. Carlos Izire asks, how much did you like Gorillaz' latest album? It's very good in my opinion. I think a lot of people disliked it, a lot of previous fans of theirs, because it's so different from their previous albums. But I think if you take it for what it is, it's very good and has some great guest features. And the only thing I wish is I wish Damon's voice was on it more. Why the hell is this so long? Asks, are you good with girls? The answer is I'm awful with girls, and it's a minor miracle I've ever had a girlfriend. Neo Alt asks, what do you think of avant-garde music? Again, I can sort of appreciate it, but it's usually so far over my head that I don't listen to it. Nathaniel S asks, do you love me? Yes. Antihero, never heard of that person, asks, how do you deal with stress during your busy and cool life? I would say I just stay relaxed a lot. Basically, whenever I have downtime, I do them, I'd honestly just like sort of kick back and chill, and that makes it so that when things get more stressful, I'm not just like building up and building up and building up. It allows me to sort of like de-stress, I guess. Pengu/Sadface asks, best Sadface song, thonk. I would say Gems is probably my favorite song you've ever done, because I love the way it goes from more chill to the more synthwave feel. The BPM change is very well done, and overall the production is just really nice. Not trying to suck your dick or anything, though. Puccio asks, has there ever been a rhythm track you really enjoyed? The only one off the top of my head would be Basement Dwellers by Virtual Riot and Barely Alive. I think it was in a Red Hawk 30, and I rated it like probably like lower than I should have. I actually like that song a lot more than I should. Alex Clash 01 asks, how long will Disarray by Bad Computer stay as the #1 song on MCAT of 2018 so far? Hopefully it's not too long. And I only say that because I hope someone beats it. I'm not sure if that'll happen, but I would love to see it. Unihero asks, best gig you've ever been to? I'll be honest here, I've never been to an EDM show ever. And I don't know, maybe that'll change at some point, but no one I'm friends with is really into that scene either, and I'm not really about going by myself. And also, most shows are going to be at least 3 hours away, because that's the closest bigger city that I live next to right now. Gabe and Teen asks, what do you think is the appeal for big artists like Marshmello and Alan Walker? So this is my explanation. So death metal, right? On the heaviness meter, it's up there. That's like an 100. Most people don't like death metal because it's too heavy for them, right? And then on the opposite end, on basically the 0 end of the meter, you've got like very chill stuff, like acoustic, piano-driven stuff. And most people don't like that because they want their music to have at least a little oomph. Marshmello and Alan Walker are on the 50, basically. Not necessarily on heaviness, just based on in general. Like, basically in any aspect of their music, they're a 50 out of 100. So that attracts not only the 50s, but it also, the people who are on the 70, and they like to listen to, like, harder trap and stuff, like Flowstradamus kind of stuff. They'll still be into it because it's not too light. And, on the other end, people in the 30, people that listen to, like, I don't know, I'll say, like, melodic dubstep and stuff. Like Seven Lions, Illenium, Woolly, Trivecta kind of stuff. Not Woolly. I don't know why I mentioned Woolly. But those people would still like it because it's got enough melody in it still. So that's what I'd say. They're normalized to a general audience, and that's why people like their stuff so much. And finally, Danny Liss asks, what was the first song that introduced you to EDM? The first song that introduced me to EDM was Swagga by Excision and Datsik. And I've gone back and listened to it, and it's so freaking bad. The song is not aged a minute. Or it has aged a minute. It's aged like 10,000 years. It sounds awful now. And also the fact that Datsik was half of it really puts a stain on it now. But yeah, that was the first song that introduced me to. I would say the first song I loved. Oh man, I'm trying to think. It might be Basshead by Bass Nectar, something like that. Either that or Animal Rights by Wolfgang Gartner and Deadmau5. But yeah. So that's my Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I either taught you something about me or just taught you something in general. And yeah.